Good day, student. It's nice to be with you again. What we are going to have here is content recording of computer literacy. We've decided to take a new dimension in order to make things easier for our beloved and dearest students. We have noticed that students, especially those at the remote areas, and even those in city also, are having big issues like great difficulties, finding it very difficult to understand the content of computer literacy, especially in the modules that have to do with practicals. Since you are a distance learning student, where we don't meet every day, the management have decided to record for you a live demonstration of how to use this application package. So what Edu, your lecturer, is going to have for you today in this presentation is to demonstrate practically live how Microsoft Excel can be used. By the time you watch and listen to this video, you will be able to work on Microsoft Excel. My advice is play the video several times, over and over and over and over, until you get used to the concepts. So we've designed this in order to solve some problems. So it's not just going to be an issue of you reading only your study guide. You are going to see the practical demonstration of how to use this application package. For today, I'm going to focus on Microsoft Excel. But before then, my name is Edu Triumph, your tutor for computer literacy for the pre-primary diploma student, as well as the student of diploma in junior primary. What are we going to cover today? What are our objectives today? Our lesson objectives for today include, as you can see from the slide on the screen, number one, we are going to identify the features of Microsoft Excel, known as spreadsheet. What can Microsoft Excel be used for? We're going to see things like columns and rows. We're going to have a look at cell referencing. We are also going to look at how do you input or enter data into a spreadsheet and manipulate and work on those data. How do you make use of formulas and functions in Excel? Will also be looked at. How do you create a chart in Excel? Will equally be looked at. Finally, we're going to look at how to print using or in Microsoft Excel. These are going to be our primary focus today in this lesson to be presented to you. So what you do is you pay attention, watch carefully as I demonstrate to you how to use Microsoft Excel. First, let us see how to open or launch Microsoft Excel from your computer. You click on Start. Don't worry, I will be slow so that you can get every step I take. Start. To all programs, look for Microsoft Office from your system. It does not matter if you are using Microsoft Office 2007, 2010, or 2013. Click on Microsoft Office, then Excel. Here the screen of Excel appears. We are going to use the blank worksheet. You click on blank worksheet. Here is an Excel Workbook. This is a workbook. A workbook consists of worksheets, meaning a workbook is an Excel document that consists of worksheets. We can have as many as worksheets as possible. Okay, let us first of all again see some of the features of Microsoft Excel so that you can get familiar with them, know their names and what they are used for. I'm going to focus primarily on the ones that concern your course outline, your module, because Excel is wide in scope. Here you have the tab. Those of you that make use of Microsoft Office 2003, you call them the menu. But as from 2010, we call them the tab. So we have the home tab, the insert, the page layout, formulas down to view. Here you have what is called the name box. The name box. I will tell you what the name box is used for as the lesson continues. Basically, it displays the name of the current cell, the cell that is active. Here is known as the formula bar. Whenever a formula is used in Microsoft Excel, the current formula, the active formula, is displayed here. The whole of this place is your working area, but it's divided. We have the columns, as you can see. We have column A, column B, column C, column D. The last column is column IV. You might be wondering, Mr. Edu, how do you talk about column IV? If you look down from column A to column Z, which is the last alphabet in English alphabet, the next column is AA, AB. That is how we have it up to AZ. Then after AZ, we have BA, BC. So the last column is column IV. So apart from columns, which these are columns, apart from columns, we have the rows. We have the rows, which we have row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. There are over 65,000 Excel rows. We have seen what a column is. We have seen what a row is. The intersection between a column and a row, the word intersection means where they meet. So it's called a cell. The intersection between a column and a row is called a cell, meaning each of these boxes you see, they are called cell. I'll give you some of the spellings so that you can get clearly what I'm talking about. So these are cells. All these boxes you see, they are called cells. Please don't call them boxes. I said cell. Each cell has a name. Each of these cells has a name. How do you get the name of a cell? It is the name of the column with the name of the row. The name of the column with the name of the row. For example, this is cell A1. This is cell A1. Okay, this is cell A1. Why did I say this is cell A1? Because this is in column A. Okay, this is in column A. Can you see? And row 1. Now go back to the name box. Can you see A1 there? So the name box shows the cell that is currently active. What I mean by a cell that is active is the cell that I'm currently working on. So what cell do you think is this one? What cell do you think is this? This is cell B1. This is cell B1. 1. Let me just give it a highlight so that you can see clearly. This is cell B1. Okay? What cell is this? Can you guess from where you are watching the video? This is cell what? D1. So each cell has a name. Not that you understand what a name of a cell is. There is what we call a cell range. That's what we call a range of a cell. Let me just put the spelling so that you can get better what I'm saying. Range. R-A-N-G-A. What do you mean by a cell range? When you are referring to more than one cell, when you make a reference, let me just make it bigger so that you can see the word range here. Alright. When you make a reference to more than one cell, it becomes a range. For example, I have from here, can you see the highlighted area? The range here is known as cell A1 to H1. Cell A1 to H1. I will write on the screen so that you can see some of the things I'm making a reference to. Let me just put a text box to enable me write some of the things I'm making reference to. Back to this, from here to here, we call it cell A1. From A1 to H1. Okay? It is written like this. Can you see how it is written? What is on the screen is from here to here. Okay. That is that range. What I have here is A1 to H1. So in the examination, when the word is being used, what is the range? You should know it means more than a cell. The range must not be written like this. You must not write it like this. This is not A1 to H1. No, this is wrong. This is wrong. What you have here, this one is, let me just undo it. This one means A1 and H1, not 2. It must not be written like that. You must not write it as A1 to H1. It's equally wrong. This is an illegal character in the use of a range. It must be written like this. Let us have a look at another range just to make sure you understand what I'm talking about here. Let us look, for example, from here to here. What is the range of cells I have here? Okay, this is cell. Let me highlight it properly so that it will drive home the point. Okay, what cell range do I have here where the green is? This is from cell A4 to cell F14. Mr. Edo, how do I know it is cell A4 to F14? You look at the starting one, where it starts and where it ends. Can you see? The first cell and the last cell, everything that forms in between that range. So the first cell here is A1, the last one here is F14, meaning from cell A1 to F14. I want to believe now you understand what a cell range is. Let us move ahead to look at other issues when it comes to working on Microsoft Excel in line with your syllabus. First, we're going to look at how to adjust your column. You see, this is a column width, the size of the column. You will agree with me if I type, for example, my name, Edu Triumph. Okay, you observe that I have exceeded this column A. I've moved a little bit to column B. If you have a situation like that, what you do is you adjust the column. How do you adjust? Move your mouse to the boundary, to the end of column A, hold down your mouse left button and drag until you get the desired size you want. You can equally take it back until you get the desired size you want. Same thing applies to a roll. If you feel the height of a roll is too small, you can equally adjust accordingly to get the size. But there are times we give you assignment and the instruction says all the columns should be uniform. All the columns should be same size. In that case, how do you do it? You select all the columns that are concerned that should have the same size. For example, I want column A, B, C, D to have the same size. So what do? You select those columns together. Okay. You right click, that is click the the right button of your mouse. Then can you see where there is column width? You click on column width, then put a number. The bigger the number, the wider this column would be. Here my column width is 14. You click OK. What will you observe? You will observe with me that column A is 14. Can you see? Column B is 14. Column C is 14. Column D is 14. That makes it uniform to adjust a column. The procedure I used in adjusting that column is still the same thing that you use in adjusting the roll. As you can see, the way I am adjusting the roll. Alright. Let us move further to look at how to work with data in Microsoft Excel. We have two types of data in Excel. There are two types of data. What are those data that we have? We have what is called value, and we have what is called label. Those are the two types of data we have in Excel. What is a value? A value has to refer to numbers. So if you use any number in Excel, we refer to it as value. If you use anything that is alphabet, using the English alphabet from letter A to Z, they are labels. Excel also take the special characters like the question mark, the equal sign. All these special characters are also taken as labels. So there are only two types of data we work on Excel: value and labels. Let us enter a value. For example, if I put in 400, that is a value. If I put in 50, that is a value. If I put on 30, is a value. Okay? But if I type something like IOL, that is a label. If I type something like edu, that is a label. Can you observe any difference in terms of alignment between the value and the label? You will agree with me that the value are displayed to the right hand side of the cell, while the labels are displayed to the left hand side of the cell. So once Excel sees this, it knows that this is a label, not a value. What makes the difference? Basically, you can only perform mathematical operations on values, not on labels. Take for an example, if I type this 10,000, I put a space here, I press enter. Alright, look at this 10,000. Okay, can you see that the first one I typed? Let me increase the size for you to see properly. Can you see that one is displayed to the left side, one is displayed to the right side? It means as of now, Excel does not take this as a number. It does not take this as a value, while this is a value. But you might be asking, Edu, but both are numbers. Why? What happened? Is because I did not type this as numbers. While I was typing this, I say 10, then I press this space, then I put 000. You see, you should not do that. Excel will automatically assign the separator to it. Hence, you cannot perform any mathematical operations on this. Now that we have seen what a value is, we have equally seen what a label is. How do you work on these labels? How do you work on this, the value? I will be specific in my discussion with you. Excel is a wide application package. So, but my focus will be precisely according to your course modules. The first thing we are going to look at now, which I have seen while marking your script, is that most of you find it difficult to work on labels, on numbers, that is values. So my next discussion now will be how to use formulas and functions in Excel. How to use formulas and functions. But first, what is a formula? What is a function? A formula is an equation that is used when working on numbers. A function is a predetermined equation. What makes it different? You formulate the formula yourself as a user to generate what you intend to achieve. But the functions are already in Excel. You only activate them. Let us be practical here. First, I will focus on the formulas. Going by your syllabus, there are formulas that you must know. The first thing is the use of the sum. First, let me enter some numbers to enable me demonstrate how to use these functions or formulas. Let us assume I have these numbers. As you can see, let us assume I have these numbers and I want to add them together. I want to create a formula that can add these numbers together. What do I do? When you want to use a formula in Excel, the first thing you must type is equal sign. The first thing is equal sign. If the equal sign is not there, Excel does not take it as a formula. You say equal, then I want to add these numbers together. In using formulas in Excel, you don't use the numbers. You don't use the values. Rather, you use the name of the cells where the values are. That is what we call cell referencing. You reference the cell, not the value. If I say the office of the president, I'm not necessarily referring to the present president, whoever that is there. So watch as I am going to add these numbers together. My first number is 10. What is the name of the cell where the 10 is? A1. So I can say A1 plus my next number is 20. Where is that 20? B1 plus B1. Okay? My next number is 45. Where do I have the 45? C1. My last number here is 34. Where do I have that? 34 in D1 plus D1. Sorry, I didn't put the plus before that. After C1 plus C1 plus D1. Then after that you press enter key. It gives you the answer 109. If you look at my formula bar that I introduced to you the other time, can you see the formula used here in adding this value together? So what happened in the exam? In the assignment we ask you to do it. In the exam we give it to you and ask you questions like this. For example, I can give you this in the exam and ask you a question. What is the formula that was used to get the answer in cell E1? Those are the areas you struggle with. Can you see it now? I will ask you, what is the formula that was used to get the value in cell E1? So what you should write for me is this formula that you see. That is, for me to get 109, I added 10 plus 20 plus 45 plus 34. But you don't write the numbers, you write the names of the cells. Look at this. Let me have the same number here. If I say equal 10 plus 20 plus 45, I'm using the same numbers, plus 34. Then I press enter. I get the same answer, which is 109. But what makes the difference between this and this one? Look at your formula bar. Do you see the cell names here? No. What do you see? 10, 20. Which means I did not use formulas there. Rather, if you look here, what do you see? So here I reference the cell. Here I did not reference the cell. What makes the difference for you here? If I change, for example, 20 to 40, my answer here will not change because it's not a formula. But if I change this value for 20 to 40, my answer here will change to 129. Can you see? It means I used formula. So a formula, you just create a formula to suit the situation you have. But whatever formula you are going to create, you must have the equal sign. Let's take one more example. Let's say I buy things. I bought a cell phone for 200. I decide to sell the cell phone for 250. Okay. I give you something like this in the examination hall. That study that table. That someone buys a cell phone for 200. The cell phone is sold for 250. Give me a formula that will give me the profit generated in this situation. A formula. Common sense says that if I buy something for 200, and that thing is sold for 250, I'm going to subtract here. So how do you create your formula? Don't forget the principle. The principle is, the first thing is what? Equal sign. What am I going to subtract? Am I going to subtract the 200 from 250? No. Mathematically, say 250 minus 200. But don't forget, do not use the numbers. Rather, use the cell name. So I will say B1 minus A1. Can you see? You press enter. My profit is $50. So in the exam, I can ask you to write the formula that was used or can be used to achieve this. It's very simple. The equal sign and reference the cells concerned. Let us now go into the use of a range here. How do you use range when it comes to working on data? While discussing the range, I will discuss it along with functions, the pre-written formulas. I just want to make them a little too bigger. Can you understand why most of you fail computer literacy? If you don't understand the practicals, you cannot pass the examination. I want to add these numbers together. Can you remember what I taught you the other time? Normally, based on what I've taught you, you are going to say A1 plus B1 plus C1 plus D1 plus E1. But in the range, you don't need to pick them one by one. What if you have 1 million students? Are you going to add them one by one? No. What do? You use a range and a function. The function name that is used to add values together is called sum. Sum is the function name that is used in adding together. So whenever you see a question that has to do with adding together, finding the total, your mind should go to sum. How do you use it? The first thing is equal. You type the name of the function. Get it step by step. Equal, the name of the function. Then you open a bracket. Then you put the range. Can you remember what I taught you about range when I started? The first cell and the last cell. That gives you the range. So base that in mind. Come here. Let me go back to it again. I say equal. Excuse me. Okay. Equal. Then the function, which is sum, I want to add together. Open a bracket. I will say A1 to E1. Can you see? A1 to, look at your formula bar. There you see it clearly. A1 to E1. Then I press the enter key. That gives me the answer. It's the same thing as writing A1 plus B1 plus C1 plus D1 plus E1. But instead of me taking them one by one, rather I use a range. A1 to E1. You see how a range looks like. But don't forget, you must use the semicolon here. If you use any other character, it becomes invalid. Take this for example. Let me put this this formula. I said sum, open a bracket, A1 to E1. I close the bracket. Then I press enter. Did it work? Did you see that it does not work? What is missing? The equal. So when Mr. Edo marks you wrong because of the equal sign, now you understand. But it doesn't work. You see why? If I don't see your equal sign, I mark you wrong. Because without the equal sign, it does not work. Don't say, Mr. Edo, oh, it's just because of the equal sign. It means a lot. If it is not Panadol, it's not the same thing as Panadol. Look at this also. Can you see? I use a wrong character. It doesn't work. So it must be written exactly the way it should be. It must be written. The equal sign, then the function, open a bracket, then write the range, then close the bracket. The next function that is stated in your model that we must see is average. average. We know from mathematics how to calculate average. In calculating average, what do? You add all your numbers together and divide by the number of variables. Here I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Definitely, if I ask you to find the average of these numbers, you are going to add them together and divide by 5. So how do you write your average formulas here? Simple. Simple. Don't forget to use a formula. The first thing is equal. Now, what is the function used with average? It's the same average. But the spelling must be right. Average, open a bracket. The same thing, put the range from A1 to E1. That is, calculate for me the average of all the numbers in this range. You press the enter key, it gives you the answer. The average. That is one way. But there are students that there are other ways you might go about it in getting the average. Someone will say, oh, in mathematics, I add them together and divide by the number of variables. In that case, you must first of all have your total first. So I will say sum A1 to E1. I get my total first. My total is in cell F what? F1. So I can have the average here. So I can say equal F1, meaning what is in F1 divide by 5. That is another way. But I would prefer you use the other one, where you have the equal, the range, then put it, makes it simple. Okay? So that gives you the same thing. But I would prefer you use the average function. The next function that is stated in your model that you must know is the max. Actually, the full name is maximum. Maximum is a function that is used to pick the highest value within a range. So if I have so many numbers here in a range, I'm going to put in more numbers to make it clearer. You are a teacher, a primary school teacher. You are done with your results, the student marks. Now you want to see the student with the highest marks. How do you do that? You use the max as a function. It picks the highest. Wherever you want the answer to be, you select that. So the same procedure, equal max. Can you see? Just follow the procedure. So whenever you write in the examination, before you submit your script, just check. Did you put the equal sign? After that, is there a function? After that, is there an opening bracket? Then the range now. What is my range? I gave you a clue the other time. The first and the last. Can you see? So the first one here is A1. From A1 to, what is my last one here? E3. E3. E3 to E3. You close the brackets. Look at my formula bar. Here it is written. Then press enter. It tells me that this is the highest value. 5,566 is the highest value among all these numbers that I have. This is the highest. And do you know what? If I change this, for example, the highest will automatically change. Can you see why Excel is part of the modules you must study as a teacher? It makes your work easier when it comes to your continuous assessments and your formative assessments. The last one here I will discuss is the mean. The mean is just the opposite of the first one, which is max. The mean here is minimum. That is, we want to get the smallest mark, the least. You want to see the least marks in your continuous assessment. The procedure is the same. Just say equal mean Can you see? Main, open a bracket, the same thing, A1 to where? E1. Alright, to E1. Press the enter. It gives you, this is the list you have. Let's go a little bit into examination mode. Take for example, I give you these marks in the examination. Let me insert a new role under so that I can label it. For you to insert, you right click first, then you click on insert. Alright, so I have this. Let's say this is mathematics, this is English, this is arts. Just call this one science, why this is language. Then I ask you, I print this for you in the examination paper, that you should write for me a formula that can be used to obtain the highest mark in mathematics. That is where most of you get confused now. Write for me the formula that can be used to obtain the highest mark in mathematics. We know these are my mathematics marks. Which one is the highest? I didn't ask you to write for me the highest mark. My question is the formula. So don't get confused. Read your question well. If I say what is the highest mark, then I need 45. But if I say what is the formula to obtain the highest mark? So to obtain the highest mark, I'm saying equal marks, open a bracket. My marks start from where? Not from here, but from here, which is A2 to where? The last one? A4. You get that right, nah? Okay, then you press the enter. If you look at my formula bar, so this is what I expect you to write for me. I can ask you again that for the first student, let me insert a column. Let's say this is a student and the name of student is Prince. Okay? Then I ask you a question like this. Give me a formula that will show the least score of Prince, the least marks of Prince, the smallest mark Prince obtained. Write it for me as an answer. You should know, you say equal mean. Prince marks start from here and ends here. Let me be realistic here because we are talking about marks, because some of you might be a little bit confused why you having 500 as a mark. Yeah, so let me go down to practicality, see if I'm in the classroom. Okay, so equal mean, you open a bracket. Prince marks start from where? B2. Can you see? B2 to where? Can you guess? F. Okay, no. To F. Am I right? I'm wrong. The alphabet comes before the number. So it is what? F2. Some of you write the numbers before that, then it is wrong. Then close the bracket. So all what I want from you in the exam is this formula. But read the question very well. The same thing, give me a formula that can calculate the average. Give me a formula I can do this. So if you know how to work on this at home, it should not be a problem for you. That is why IOL have decided to create this content, practical content for you. Now I understand you know what and how to work on formulas. The next thing I'm going to discuss with you is how do you add a heading to your work. There are different ways of doing that. There are different ways. Let me start with the first one. First, let me create a space on top where the heading is going to be. Okay. There are different ways. I can go to insert tab. Alright, then come to text. Then I click on text box. The text box allows you to type in text, that is What do you call text? According to what I told you, labels. Select it, then draw a text box here. Alright, so I can type my heading here. So I can say, for example, IOL primary school. Enter, just the way you type in Microsoft Word. After that, you format accordingly. Select, then I can centralize. Sorry for that. You can increase the font size as you want it to be. You can bold it, or any other features you want to add. In the last examination, I created something like this and I asked, how was this done? A lot of you were not able to write this because you don't know how to work on Excel. This is one way of doing that. Another way of doing that, let me not delete that for now, I'll come back to that, is this. You come to page layout, you click on margin, customize margin, footer, header and footer. Let me take it here. You will agree with me, most of our headings are on top. Then you say customize header. If you want it to be on the left hand side, you type here. The center, you type here. Right hand side, you type there. So I can type at the center IOL primary school. Okay, Workbook. Then you say OK. Then OK. Oh, Mr. Edo, where is the header? Well, where is the heading? Whenever you make use of that alternative or that procedure, it does not appear here. It always appears when you print or you're about to preview. Now, if you look at my preview here, you can see it here. So, ordinarily, it will not appear on your spreadsheet here. It's only that if you print or you preview, you will see it there. So you can use either method. Either you insert the first method, they use a text box, type your heading, and arrange, format it accordingly. To conclude our class, our lesson for today, we're going to look at finally how to create charts in Microsoft Excel. How do you create charts? It's one of the basic things that you must know how to use in Microsoft Excel. And the good thing here is that Microsoft Excel has made it very easy for charts to be created. How do you create charts? First of all, you select the data to be used in creating such charts. Are they coming from a column or they are coming from rows? If they are from columns, Excel must be aware. If they are from rows, Excel must be aware. We have this chart wizard that makes it very easy for you, the chart wizard. Let's say, for example, I'm going to create a chart for English and mathematics marks here. Okay, if I select that, go to insert, here are the various charts that we have. In your assignment, at times we are specific about the type of chart to be created. The question says at times, use this chart specifically. But when there's no, the question is not specific, it means you are free to use anyone. So select the cells where the data are, then click on the chart you are told to use. Alright, for now I'm going to use the column chart. I will just click on it. The chart wizard makes it very easy for you to use. it creates it for you automatically. A wizard is a utility program that only collects data from the user and creates the perform the task for you. So it makes it very easy if you use the shot wizard. Another method you can use here is you go to insert, all right, just click on any shot, the one you are asked to use, still on column. Can you see? So the shot wizard is very easy for you to create a shot. Let's look at something else. I will create another type of shot, then ask you one or two questions about the shot. Let me create another one. This time around, I'm going to create the bar charts. Okay. Here you have the bar charts. I know in mathematics, the bar chart and the column chart are almost the same, but in Microsoft Excel, you will see that the bar chart is horizontal, while the column chart is vertical. Okay. Then at times they can ask you questions based on this. That the charts that you see here, the data that we use in creating these charts, they are from where? Which cell? Now you look at these numbers that I have here, the data here, 0 to 50, the units that we use here, 50 interval, 100 interval, and so on. It's from cell, my numbers here are from cell B3. Can you see the numbers start from where? B3 to F5. Those ones were used on the x-axis. Then on the y-axis, I used the numbers. I mean the subjects. From B2 to F2 was used here. So the range that was used in creating the y-axis here are from the B2 to the F2, while for the numbers from B3 to F3. So the shot wizard actually makes it very, very easy for you to create a shot. Another way for you to use in creating your shot is by selecting the data you save. Click on insert. I'm still going to use the column one. Okay, can you see that it's empty? There's nothing here. All right. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to select where the data must come from and what should be here. Having done this, you click on select data. Select data. First, I'm going to select the subject here. So I click on add. What is going to be the title? Let me just call it subject. The value that will be used in creating that subject start from where you have mathematics to English, language, and that is from B2 to F2. But you don't need to type it one by one, just select it this way. Can you see? Alright, you stop there. After that, you say OK. I need also, maybe I want to plot it against the marks of prints. Alright, so I can say add. Let me call this one prints. The value for prints are here. Select them like this. Then I say OK. Alright, then I can call it OK here. So at times you can select the values you save. You can select the cells, you can select the rows or the columns you save in order to create your chart. Students, we have learned quite a lot in this lesson from the beginning. Just to summarize what we have learned so far. You have learned, number one, what is a column, what are rows. You know what a cell is, you know what a value is, you know what a label is. You've equally learned how to use formulas. Don't forget, your equal sign must be there. You've learned how to use functions. You've equally learned how to create a chart. This video you can play over and over and over several times, then you will get used to it. In case you have a problem while using this video to learn on how to work on Microsoft Excel, you are free to contact me on my cell phone number. I will guide you through. But whenever you call on an assistance, you want to be helped on Microsoft Excel or any other application package, please make sure you are in front of your computer so that as I give you instructions, you know what to do. Here is my number, 081 480 4091.